something. It's a practical process of bringing something into being. And to that extent, once you recognize that creativity is a transitive process, it means that you can facilitate it and teach it and make it possible. But as soon as you recognize too that it has its roots in imagination, it means that everybody is capable of it. And this is something I just want to get to in just a minute. So I think of creativity as the process of having original ideas that have value. Or you could say it's applied imagination. And I think it's of critical importance now, not to our well-being only, though it is for that, but to our survival. Because this power of imagination has brought this species to a brink. And I mean, if we had never been on the Earth, the rest of the planet probably would have got on quite nicely without us. But we have brought things to a pass through this restless power of possibility, and we'll only deal with it by not abandoning it or forsaking it or crushing it, but by facilitating it and growing it. And I say this because, in my experience, most adults have no confidence in their own creativity. Most people think they're not creative at all, in my experience. They think other people are creative and they're not. I don't say that's true of you. You're Microsoft, you know. But ask a cross-section of people at your next dinner party how creative they believe themselves to be, and I think you'll be depressed by what people tell you. And yet all children think they are wonderfully creative, up until a certain point. And the book, The Element, this extraordinary work, which I cannot recommend too highly, frankly, honestly. You would be a fool not to read this book. Is about some of this. What has struck me is this, that most people that I know, not all, but very many people, just as one indicator of this, for example, don't enjoy the work they do. I don't say that's true of you. You probably love it. But an awful lot of people don't enjoy the work they do. And they also don't think they have any special ability to do anything much else, often. But they just get on with it. They endure it rather than enjoy it. But I also meet people who love what they do and couldn't imagine doing anything else. You know, if you were to say to them, look, don't do that anymore, they would be astonished and say, well, I don't know what you mean. I mean, this is not what I do. This is who I am. You know, why would I not do this? You know, that would be ridiculous. In a way, what they do defines them. They feel at their most authentic when they do it. I mean, the common expression we use for it is they're in their element. And I have been struck by this for as long as I can remember. And what interests me and what the book is about is what makes the difference? Why do some people have that experience and some don't? And what difference does it make when that happens to you? When you find this way of living that helps to define who you really are. But it relates to me to a bigger conception. I think of this as the other climate crisis. We've become used, I think, properly and correctly to there being a crisis in the world's natural environment. I think there's an equal crisis in the world's human environment. I mean, there are lots of kind of indicators of it, you know, but not least, I think, one of them is the fact that until Arnold Schwarzenegger made his recent State of the Union address, California was set next year to spend more money on the state prison system than on the state university system. I mean, what conception of humanity does that answer to? You know, I just don't believe it. You know, I don't believe there are that many bad people out there. I mean, there are bad people, but there are few. But there are very many people in bad situations who can't quite see what to do with this or the way out, and people who get trapped into bad situations. But I don't believe people are fundamentally bad. I don't believe there are that many psychopaths, you know what I mean? Actually, you don't need that many psychopaths, do you, if you think about it, really? Do you know what I mean? I mean, one goes a long way, don't you find, really? I mean, if you meet two psychopaths in the same day, that's a bad day, frankly, isn't it? Honestly, really.